presents America's favorite family comedy, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, starring the entire Nelson family. Here is Ozzie, who plays the part of Ozzie Nelson. And, of course, his lovely wife, Harriet, as Harriet Nelson. The older of the Nelson boys, David, appears as David Nelson. And his younger brother, the irrepressible Ricky, played by Ricky Nelson. The Nelsons' next-door neighbor, Thorny, is played by Don DeFore.
Hi, Pop. Good morning, Dave. Where's Rick? He was with me a minute ago. Ricky!
I'm coming.
Come on, breakfast is just about ready.
How do you like that? The darn television set's busted again.
I thought I told you not to watch television before breakfast.
I can't watch it now, that's for sure.
Well, I'll call the repairman right after breakfast.
Yeah, but he probably won't be here till tomorrow.
Well, he'll come as soon as he can. Sure he can do without television for one night. We'll find something to do.
Well, David has some Shakespeare to read tonight, haven't you, David?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good for you. What are you going to read?
Hamlet.
Well, that's a wise selection.
Well, thanks, Pa. Our teacher made it.
Hamlet is possibly the greatest play ever written. It's the goal of all Shakespearean actors. The title role is the longest role in the theater.
Yes, sir. That's what our English teacher told us, too.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio.
I know that part, Pa. That's when they're out in the graveyard and Hamlet picks up this old skull.
Please, David, I'm eating.
Oh, Ricky, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, Shakespeare was the world's greatest playwright. His works are known the world over.
I think he's a little corny myself.
I don't see anything corny about him.
Oh, no? What about that Hamlet? Guys talking themselves about committing suicide, walking through graveyards, picking up old skulls. It just isn't commercial.
Are you kidding? This play's only been a hit for 200 years.
You'll never regret studying Shakespeare, Dave. Some of the immortal bard's lines will live forever. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of trouble, and by opposing, end them.
Well, it's quite a memory you've got there.
Oh, I learned that in high school. It's one of those things you never forget. You know, like how to swim or your first date.
That's right.
To die, to sleep perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub.
Well, actually, I didn't pay enough attention to Shakespeare when I was in high school.
Nick, why bother with Shakespeare when you had Pop?
I think they were in slightly different age groups.
You know, Harriet, I don't think I fully appreciated the old bard myself at the time.
Well, I think that's true of most young people. They just don't seem to get enough out of the plays.
Well, that's because they don't have the understanding or maturity.
I guess we're pretty dull, huh?
Speak for yourself, Horatio.
Well, it isn't a question of being dull. It's just that Shakespeare requires a little application and patience and study if you want to really appreciate his works.
It's a little difficult to read, though. If somebody read it to me, I wouldn't mind.
Hey, that's an idea.
What's that?
Well, as long as our television set isn't working, why don't we put on our own production here tonight?
Yeah. How about This Is Your Life, Ricky Nelson?
I have a better idea. You asked for it, Ricky Nelson.
Well, I'm really serious about this. We could all take turns reading the different parts. We'll make Hamlet come to life right here in our living room.
When do you figure on doing this?
Tonight?
Suppose we already have something to do.
Like what?
Well, if you let me make a few phone calls, I'll sure dig up something.
Relax, will you? Pop's serious about this.
Well, I don't want to sound like I'm forcing you into anything, but I know you'll enjoy it.
I'm sure we will, dear.
Well, then we'll consider it a date, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Holy smokes.
What's the matter with you?
Sounds like we're all going steady.
Hi, Oz. Just coming over to see you.
How now, Thornberry? How goest thou?
Wait a minute, Oz, don't tell me. David's studying Shakespeare.
Yeah. How'd you guess? My stentorian tones?
No, not exactly.
My classic gestures, perhaps?
Nope.
Well, how'd you guess?
My boy Will's in David's English class.
You know, it brought back a lot of pleasant memories when I heard the boys were studying Hamlet.
Well, not to me, it didn't. I never could get interested in that stuff.
Oh, really, Thorny? It's really wonderful. It's part of a liberal education.
Well, I'll probably get around to reading it again one of these days.
See, I have an idea. Why don't you come over to our house tonight? We're going to read Hamlet in our living room.
Oh, not tonight, Oz.
Well, yeah, why not?
Well, we're trying to get up a little poker game for tonight. That's why I was coming over to see you. Gee, you gotta come.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I can't, Thorny. See, I promised the family, and we're all looking forward to it.
Well, we're looking forward to having you play a little poker with us.
Well, it's very nice, but I'm not much of a poker player.
I know. That's why we're looking forward to it. We want to teach you some of the finer points of the game, Oz. The hard way, of course. Should be a lot of fun.
Well, it sounds very interesting. I wish you'd told me about it before.
Well, we just thought of it a few minutes ago. Doc Williams is going to be there, too. You could ask him about the trouble you're having with that football knee.
Well, it has been bothering me lately. Gee, I'm sorry, Thorny. As I say, we've made these arrangements to read Shakespeare, and I just can't go back on my word.
Ah, she can read Shakespeare anytime. He's been around for a couple hundred years. He's not going anywhere.
I know, but a promise is a promise.
Okay, Oz, but you're going to miss out on a very interesting evening. Playing cards, jokes, laughs, good fellowship. You're not going to let William Shakespeare come between you and culture, are you? Listen, Oz, you leave everything to me. I'll figure out some way to get you out of the house tonight.
No, you don't understand. I don't want to get out of the house.
Why not?
Well, I just couldn't, that's all. I've given my word.
Oz, I won't take no for an answer. I'll get you out of the house one way or another.
Thorny, come back here, will you, please?
Yeah?
When you figure out something, let me know.
Man didn't get here yet, did he?
I know he didn't, dear. He said he'd over tomorrow.
Now we're stuck with that darn Shakespeare tonight.
Now, that's not a nice attitude. We promised your father.
Oh, there.
Oh, hello, dear.
Hi, Pop.
Dinner will be ready in a little while. I thought we'd have it early tonight so we could get started with the play. Hamlet's quite long, isn't it?
Yeah, about 10 miles.
Oh, Harriet, you know, I've been thinking a little more about this Hamlet situation.
So have I. You were perfectly right. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, you really think so?
I certainly do.
Well, gee, I was thinking perhaps it might be a little dull for the boys. You know, Ricky said something at breakfast this morning. It's pretty silly when you think about those soliloquies. I mean, nobody in his right mind goes around talking to himself.
Now, dear, stop making excuses. You're not forcing us into this at all. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and a wonderful evening for all of us. So you can just stop trying to talk me out of it.
Honestly?
Honestly. Now, why don't you get ready for dinner?
Why do I always open up my big mouth and put my foot in it? Nothing. Just talking to myself. We'll all take turns at this. I'll deal first. I'll read first. Everybody comfortable?
Yes,
I'm fine, Pop.
thank you.
Oh, good. It's a long play, so we better settle down for the evening. Fine print here. The Tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark.
You want a glass of water, Pop?
No, thank you. Well, maybe that would help. Suppose you bring in a pitcher.
Do you want me to bring in that bowl of fruit, Pop?
Yeah, that's a good idea, Dave.
I think this is going to be very interesting, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I remember this from school. It's a little dull at the start, but once you get into it, it's a wonderful way to spend a couple of hours. At least it certainly can't hurt you.
No, not at all. Maybe we ought to spend one evening a week like this.
Well, let's not overdo a good thing. Yeah, it might be a little too much for the boys. We could try it once every, say, 3 or 4 months, though. Oh, thank you, son.
Anybody want any fruit?
I'll take a walnut.
Well, shall we start the reading again?
Okay.
More water, Pop?
The tragedy of... Ricky, try not to make so much noise, huh, please, son? It's very disconcerting.
They come in a shell, Pop.
Yes, I want you to try one of those grapes over there. See, where was I?
The Tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark.
Oh, yes. Really an interesting play once you get into it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it very much.
I'm sure we'll all enjoy it.
I'll get it.
Oh, I'll get it. Right in the interesting part. Beginning of the part. Yes?
Good evening. I'm sorry to bother you at this hour, but I'm looking for an address, and I seem to have lost my way.
Oh, well, won't you come in, please? What's the address you're looking for?
1623 Avon Way.
Avon Way. I don't believe I've ever heard of that. I'll ask my wife,
Oh,
just...
you're very kind.
Harriet, this gentleman is looking for a place called Avon Way. Have you ever heard of it?
Avon Way. No, I'm afraid I haven't.
I have a street map upstairs, Pop. You want me to get it?
Oh, yeah. Would you please, Dave?
Oh, sure.
Now, I'll go with you, David.
I don't want to put you to any inconvenience.
Oh, it's no inconvenience at all.
Oh,
We're happy to
certainly
do it.
not. Won't you come in and sit down?
No,
Thank
yes,
you.
please. We were just having a little group reading of Hamlet when you came in.
Ah, Hamlet. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, really? Ours, too.
Oh, this is hire and salary, not revenge. He took me father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown as flush as May. And how his audit stands, who knows, save heaven. Oh, forgive me, please. I was carried away there for a moment.
Oh, to say that was wonderful. I see you're quite familiar with the play.
Oh, yes, I've appeared in many Shakespearean productions.
I kind of sensed that. I noted the rich, resonant timbre of your voice, the mark of a professional actor.
Thank you, Mr.
Nelson, Ozzie Nelson.
How do you do? My name is Cameron Whitfield.
Oh, I'm
Pleasure to know you.
very happy to know you. This is my wife, of course.
How do you do, Mrs. Nelson?
How do you do, Mr. Whitfield?
Here's the map, Pop.
Oh, thanks. These are my two boys, David and Ricky. This is Mr. Whitfield, the professional
How do you
actor,
do?
boys.
How do you do, boys? Tell me, boys, what do you think of Hamlet?
Oh, it's very interesting, sir, once you get into it.
Well, Mr. Nelson, I don't want to seem presumptuous, but may I suggest that you not only read the play, but also act out the parts as well. It's really more fun that way.
Hey, that sounds like a wonderful idea.
Sure, we have to read it out loud in school anyway.
Now, your two lads can play Bernardo and Francisco. The play opens with them.
Where do we start?
Well, let's see. Here, let's play the platform scene on the staircase. Francisco went on the stairs, and Bernardo enters to him.
Well, here you are, boys.
No, thanks, Pop.
Pop.
You be Francisco and I'll be Bernardo.
Francisco, hey? My friends just call me Sam. Sam Francisco. Nothing, huh?
Absolutely nothing.
Bernardo's right. Let's start the play. All right. Curtain.
Who's there?
Where?
Oh, we're starting the play. Read your lines.
Bernardo says, who's there? All right, Bernardo.
Who's there?
Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself. Stand and unfold yourself? Hey, that's a pretty good trick if you can do it.
Never mind the comments, Ricky. Just stick to the script.
Allow me, boys.
A countenance more in sorrow than anger.
Pale or red?
Nay, very pale.
And fixed his eyes upon you?
Most constantly.
I would I'd been there.
Hark, the doorbell rings thither.
Hi, Oz.
Oh.
Doc Williams and I just stopped by to see if you're feeling any better tonight.
What's this?
You don't look too good, Ozzie. Probably need a little more fresh air and exercise. And there's no better exercise than a good poker game, you know that, Oz. Oh, shuffling cards is wonderful for those digital muscles.
Look, fellas, you're a little late. I've gotten so darn interested in this Hamlet that I couldn't possibly break away for a poker game.
This man is sicker than I realized.
Hello, Dr. Williams. Hi, Thorny.
Hello, Harriet. I just stopped by to have a look at Ozzie.
Oh, what for?
Well, he did have that bad cold, you know, and I like to keep a close check on my patients. We don't want any further complications.
Oh, well, that cold was about 4 months ago. I'm sure he's all right now.
Oh, was it really 4 months ago? Seemed to me a little more recent. He just paid his bill last week.
Go on in and meet our guest.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Thornberry. Hi, Dr. Williams.
Hi, boys.
Mr. Cameron with you, Mr. Thornberry.
How do you do,
Hello.
And Dr. Williams.
How do you do?
Doctor.
I just stopped by to check over Mr. Nelson. This will only take a minute, Oz.
Doc.
Let's see, where did I put that stethoscope?
Oh, did you see the size of those pills? What are you doing with those, Doc?
Harriet, you might as well know. This is all a little scheme to get me out of the house to play poker at Thorny's.
Oz, you turncoat.
Well, can't you play poker after you've read Hamlet?
Say, hey, that's an idea. Why don't you and Doc stay and listen to us? It'll only take a few hours.
You mean we're going to have to wait here and watch you play Hamlet before we play poker?
Well, why not? A little culture would do you good. Come on,
Come
sit
on,
down
Doc, give me an anesthetic.
Let's see, Mr. Whitfield, what is the next scene?
Let me see here. Oh, yes, the platform at midnight.
At midnight. Ricky, set the clock, would you, son?
Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which being kept close might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love. Come. Now,
Both your majesties might, by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pleasures more into command than to entreaty.
But we both obey, and here give up ourselves in the full bent to lay our service freely at your feet to be commanded.
Thanks, Rosencrantz and gentle Guildenstern.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing...
I'm sorry. There's somebody at the door, Doc. You just go right ahead.
No, that's all right. I'll wait.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes?
I'm from the television repair service.
Oh, yes, fine. The television set is right in the den here, right off to your left. If you hear any noise in the front room, don't let it disturb you. We're reading a little play in there.
Oh, a play, huh? I used to be interested in dramatics myself.
Oh, is that so? Were you an actor?
No, I was a wrestler.
Well, good for you.
Maybe you saw me in some of my matches. I used to wrestle under the name of Babyface Mulligan.
The name sounds familiar.
Well, I'll have your set fixed in a jiffy, Mr. Nelson.
Okay, fine. And if you need anything, I'll be right in the living room.
Okay.
Nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms.
Saw you on his face?
Oh, yes, my lord. He wore his beaver.
Thunder, witching hour of the night. Churchyards yawn. Hell itself breathes out contagion to this world.
Spend your time with us a while for the supply and profit of our hopes. Your visitation shall receive such thanks as fit to king's remembrance.
Oh, I die, Horatio. The potent poison quite o'ercrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England, but I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice, so tell him, with the occurrence more and less which have solicited. The rest is silence.
Now cracks the noble heart. Good night, sweet prince. And flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Well, good.
Oh.
Hey, Rick, you did a pretty good job in that death scene.
Oh, thanks a lot, Mrs. Hornberry. When somebody tells me to drop dead, I really drop dead, boy.
I think we all died very realistically.
Hey, Pop, how come you got stabbed with a fork?
Oh, well, there weren't any knives left.
I wish you'd have let me use the catcher, Mom. It would have been more gruesome.
Oh, nothing doing. This was gruesome enough as it was.
May I say a word?
Please do.
well, I think it was all very fine. And I just want to say that in all my experience playing Hamlet, this is certainly at least as good a company as I've ever had.
Okay, Oz, I'll go over and get the card table set up, and you be over as soon as you can.
We'll be waiting for you, Oz. Oh, fine.
It sure was a wonderful evening, Mr. Nelson. Simply delightful.
Well, thanks a lot.
I'm so glad you enjoyed Hamlet.
I wish it had a happy ending, though. I'm too emotional for these dramas. Good night, all.
Good night.
I fear that I, too, must bid a reluctant farewell to you charming people.
Oh, well, just a second. I'll get the address for
Please
you.
don't bother, Mr. Nelson. I can only humbly crave your forgiveness.
Forgiveness? For what, for goodness sakes?
I have a confession to make. I had no address that I sought. I used that merely as a subterfuge to enable me to share this delightful evening, to bask once again in the radiant glory of Hamlet.
But how did you know we were reading Hamlet?
My dear, it is difficult indeed to explain. Why does the salmon swim upstream? What draws the homing pigeon back to his perch? I can only say that something seemed to say to me, inside that house, within those walls, Shakespeare lives again tonight. I heard the voice calling to me, saw the sign, you might say, sensed the bond between us.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah. As I said before, we sure are happy you stopped by. Please feel free to come by here any time at all. You're always more than welcome.
Well, thank you. And I shall be listening for the voice, watching for the sign. Good night, my good friends. Farewell.
Farewell. That's really amazing, isn't it, Harriet? He just knew we were going to read Shakespeare here tonight.
I still don't understand how he knew.
Well, you heard his explanation.
Well, yes, but I'm still not sure I understand it.
It did sound a little mysterious, as though he were almost like the spirit of Shakespeare.
I wonder if he'll ever come back again.
Sure he will, Ma. Did you hear him? All we have to do is put out the sign again.
No, Rick. His reference to the sign was merely a figure of speech. The mysterious something that made him realize that Shakespeare was being read here tonight.
Oh, I thought he meant my sign.
What sign?
Yeah.
The sign I put out on the front lawn.
Is this some of your work, Ricky?
That's it. I figured as long as we were going to put on a play tonight, we might as well make some money out of it. The only trouble, though, a lot of people showed up, but nobody paid.
Wait a minute, Ricky. Looks like you had a paying customer. Isn't that a quarter on the table?
Oh, yeah. The stranger left it when he went out. I saw him.
Why, can I keep it?
Well, I don't see why not.
Hey, this isn't a quarter. How about that? He leaves me a phony coin.
Well, what is it?
Says 1 shilling.
I pass.
Buy me.
I mean,
I pass.
If you're sure you'd like to play, it's your deal.
Gentlemen, it's very kind of you to permit me to play. I haven't indulged in this pastime for a good many years. I'm afraid you'll just have to lead me as you would a little child by the hand. Now, let me see. It's my deal.
Yes, that's right. First of all, you shuffle the cards, however. That is, you mix them all up, and then you give each person 5 cards, one at a time.
Yes, now, I believe we open for knaves or better.
Jacks or better.
John Carradine played the part of Cameron Whitfield. Dr. Williams was Frank Cady, and the television repairman was Henry Culkey. This is Vern Smith speaking. Don't forget that a completely different episode of The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet is heard every Friday night on radio. Consult your newspaper for time and radio station.